Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And yes, I know my voice sounds like I just smoked 18 packs of cigarettes, but I had a cough for the last couple days and it tore up my throat a little bit. Whatever, don't judge me. Alright, so anyways, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to get data from these form fields and also how to validate them. So we already know how to make them, in other words, how to display them in our app, but what happens when, let's say, the user types in some username and they hit like submit to log into your website? Well, we need to actually pull out the data from here and either send it off to our database or update our app in some kind of way. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys how to actually get that data. So it's actually really easy. By the way, that was our starting point. I actually don't even remember what was the last tutorial I taught you, but anyways, our starting point for this one is just form field and a button that does nothing as of now whenever you click it. Really simple stuff. Alright, so after your button, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say whenever we click this button, just extract that data and print it out in the terminal. Now obviously you would want to do something a little bit more than that, but I just want to show you guys the concept of how that's done right now. So of course we need button, set on action, E. Alright, so what do you want to happen whenever you click that button? Let me make this a little bit prettier. Well, what we want to do is we just want to print something out in the terminal. So system out print line, and anytime you want to extract the information from a form element, you just put the name of that element in this word. In this case it's a text field, so name input get text. Too lazy to type those last two characters. Alright, so now check this out. So now what we can do is if they type the New Boston, whatever, hit login, we can pull that data out. If they can type, some number, pull that data out. So that's how we actually get whatever the user typed in. Now here's the thing. Usually you just don't want to get whatever value and then just start doing whatever you want to it. You want to validate it in some kind of way. And by that I mean, what if you're making some kind of like chat application or social network app and you wanted the user to type in their age? Well, if they typed in tuna fish, you obviously wouldn't want to store tuna fish in your database for age. So you'd want to actually verify that they typed in some number first. So let me show you how to do that. So instead of just printing something out, what you usually want to do is you want to build a couple different methods, and one of your methods is going to say verify that the data is an integer. Another method might verify that the data they typed in is, I don't know, like maybe text only. So let's just say that we were looking for the user to enter their age, and I'll show you guys how to validate if the data is an integer, and then once you understand that, you guys are going to understand how to do it for any other type of data. You also might want to make your own custom validation. For example, if you are having users sign up and you want them to throw in a password, you might want to make sure that it has a capital letter, a lowercase letter, and like a number and like a weird symbol. So that would be an example of a custom one. So let's just go ahead and make one called isInt. And this one, we're going to have two parameters, name input, which is the entire field itself, and I'm also going to throw in the value of it, whatever they typed in. So name input get text. Now obviously we have to make this, so let me first tighten that up. Alright, so I would want it private boolean. I'm just going to say return true. If it is an integer, return false. If it is not, for example, if they typed in tuna fish or some word or like a question mark or something. However, if you want to, you can, just return the integer or whatever, doesn't matter. And I named it isInt. So this validation method is going to take, of course, a text field. And I'll just name it, I don't know, input, whatever. And it's also going to take the value that they typed in, and we'll just call this the message. Now, the easiest way, and there are a bunch of different techniques that you can use, but the easiest one I'm going to show you guys is this. What we're going to do is we're going to throw a try catch statement in here, and since we're validating numbers, I know that this is going to be a number format exception. but this is going to be different if you're like validating email addresses or whatever. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to say int age, and hopefully they did type in a number. So what we can do is we can just say integer parse int, and inside here you can actually type in a couple different things. You can say input get text, and of course this is going to get whatever they typed in, or you can just say message. So again, this is going to give you a couple of different options depending on if you want to look at the actual input or the message. If you want to make this really easy, you can just simplify it and throw the message in there. But actually the reason that you might want to have the input itself is because let's say that you wanted to check if it was a number, and if it wasn't, you wanted to highlight that input in red. Well, then you would actually need a reference to the actual input. So I'll show you guys both of the techniques. So say input get text. So what this is going to do is it's going to get whatever they typed in, and it's going to try to convert it to an integer. Now this is only going to work if they typed in an actual number. If they typed in, the name Bucky or something, it's going to throw an error. So that's why after this we can just say, just print something out in the terminal. Nice for us. What can we say? We'll say like the user is age. And of course, since this is going to return a boolean, we'll say true. So hopefully if all goes well, they typed in like the number, the number 19, converts it to age, says user is 19, and returns true, no problems. However, if they typed in something like, I don't know, their name by accident, we're just going to say system out print line. And the reason that this catch occurs is because it can't convert a name to an integer, so it's going to throw that exception. So now we can just print out some error like error, move this out of the way, message. And again, this message and this input get text, they're the exact same thing in this tutorial. Just I'm demonstrating two different ways that you can do it. And we'll just say something like is not a number. And of course we would want to return false. Alright, so check this out. Let's run this bad boy, and alright, making sure I got everything set up right. Alright, so hopefully whenever you're looking for their age, you're going to type something like 18, click me, user is 18. However, if they type like bacon, that's obviously not a number, so it's going to say error, bacon is not a number. And again, if you want to do something like highlight this in red, then you can do that as well. So anyways, one last time, what's going on is whenever we validate the data, we're passing in the data, and in this case we're trying to convert it to an integer. Now it can convert any number to an integer, no problem. However, when it tries to convert some text or like an email address to an integer, it's going to throw an error, and it's going to kick off our catch statement. So there you go. I'm going to probably go take some cough medicine, and yeah, see you guys later.